All right, let's talk about something we all kind of grapple with. That superfine, often really blurry line between the simple, generous gift and, well, something way more corrupt. We're going to dive into the subtle psychology that really separates the two.
So, when does a thoughtful gift become a suspicious bribe? You think you know the answer, right? But if you had to pinpoint it, where exactly is that line? When does a friendly gesture suddenly cross over and just feel off? Okay, let's consider this. Picture a developer. They're trying to build a new apartment complex. The city official who gets to pick the winner? Yeah, they get a $10,000 vintage watch from that same developer. So, is this just a really nice Christmas gift between pals? Or is it a pretty obvious attempt to buy some influence? Your gut probably has an answer right away. But what's that gut feeling actually based on?
That right there, that hazy gray area, is exactly what researchers wanted to untangle. They were on a mission to figure out the specific things our brains latch onto to make that really crucial judgment call.
Okay, so let's get a definition straight. A bribe is all about expectation. See, it's not just a gift. It's really a transaction where there's this unspoken, and usually illegal, string attached. But that string is almost always invisible. So the big question is, how do we even spot it? So, to figure this all out, a couple of researchers, Michael Arntz and Stepan Bahanik, designed this really clever experiment. You can think of it like a detective story, but for social science. And we're about to look at all the evidence they uncovered. So what they did was recruit over 500 people online and basically ask them to act as a jury. Their one job? To pass judgment on a bunch of really tricky situations. Every single person in this jury was shown 8 different hypothetical scenarios. And these weren't easy black and white cases, no way. They were all specifically designed to be ambiguous, to live right in that gray area we're talking about. Here's a perfect example of what these participants were reading. A sports club rep gives a ref $1,000 in cash after the last game, as a thank you. And oh yeah, it's a known fact this ref is going to be overseeing a lot of their games next season too. See, it gives you just enough to make you wonder, is that just a nice bonus for a good season? Or is it more like an investment in some favorable calls down the line? And the way they collected opinions was super simple. After you read a scenario, you just had to rate it on a 6-point scale. A 1 meant, nope, definitely not a bribe. A 6 meant, oh yeah, that is definitely a bribe. This gave the researchers some really clear, hard data on how people were feeling. So what did they find out after all this? Well, the data pointed to 3 key clues. 3 things that consistently, time and again, pushed people's judgments one way or the other. All right, the first clue. This one is probably the most intuitive one of the bunch. It all came down to the relationship between the person giving the gift and the person getting it. And this shows it perfectly. When the 2 people were described as being old friends, the jury was way more forgiving. It's like friendship creates this buffer of goodwill. But if the relationship was purely professional, that exact same gift was suddenly seen as way, way more suspicious. Okay, on to clue number 2. Now this one probably won't surprise you, but stick with me because the way it plays with the other clues is where it gets interesting. It's all about the value. Basically, a gift worth, I don't know, $500 was seen as way less of a big deal than one worth $5,000 or even $50,000. It's simple, right? As that price tag climbs, so does our suspicion that a pretty serious payback is expected. And that brings us to our final clue. This one wasn't about how much money something was worth, but what the gift actually was. The form of the gift turned out to matter a whole lot. So giving an actual item, what the researchers call an in-kind gift, like a fancy trip or a nice watch, that felt more social, more personal. But giving someone cold hard cash, whoa, that felt super transactional, almost like a business deal, and it was much, much more likely to get flagged as a bribe, even if the dollar amount was exactly the same. Okay, but this is where it gets really fascinating. Because these 3 clues, relationship, value, and form, they don't just add up independently. Nope. They interact with each other in a really specific way that tells us something profound about how our brains work here. And here's the big reveal. The effect of a gift's value is completely dependent on the relationship. The price tag alone isn't the whole story, not even close. And this chart just lays it all out. Just look at that difference. A high-value gift between 2 professionals, it gets a super high bribe rating. But that same expensive gift given between friends is seen as way, way less like a bribe. That friendship provides the context, the story that allows a pricey gift to just be a gift. So, okay, this is a really cool experiment for sure. But what does it mean in the real world? Why does it even matter that we understand how our gut feelings work on this stuff?
Well, at the end of the day, what's happening is our brain is playing detective. It's taking these clues, the relationship, the value, the form, and it's trying to guess the giver's true intentions. We're constantly trying to figure out if there's that invisible string attached, that hidden expectation of getting something back.
And the takeaways from this are actually pretty huge. For companies, it means they can design gift policies that actually line up with how people think. It screams for why transparency in business and government is so critical. But, and this is a big but, it's worth remembering this study was done with people in the US. In other cultures with totally different norms around gift giving, these results could look completely different. It just goes to show you, context is everything.
So, the next time you see a gift change hands, whether it's in the office or between politicians on the news, you'll know exactly what's going on inside your head. You know the clues your brain is looking for. The only question left is, what are the hidden rules governing the exchanges in your world?